Normally at this point we're talking about the weather in advance of Les still joining us, but I've got Gary Dean here in the studio, and we're going to be chatting with Les as well. And it's a tough day there at Storm Track 12. For those who are not aware of it, Skip Waters died yesterday, passed away at his home. And Gary, you said something about him related a moment ago about everybody's losing a brother.
Well, this is as close as you can get to everyone in eastern North Carolina simultaneously losing a family member, a brother, an uncle. Yeah, just somebody you've been close to, that you've invited in every night. Every night,
very comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I know that it's been a tough one for the folks there at Storm Track 12. And so with that, let me go to Les Still. And Les, good morning to you. My apologies for this introduction, but I'm sensitive to the challenges that you all face there at the station.
Yeah, I was less than 12 hours ago. We got the news that we had lost Skip, and it's still hard to deal with. He was in this area for 32 years. He's a broadcasting legend, and I'm sure Gary can attest to this. It's his reach is more so outside of just our Eastern Carolina community here. I mean, I'm getting, people that were meteorologists that either passed through News Channel 12 or did an internship here with him all across the country that are giving us condolences and good wishes.
The same with me, Les. I've been getting phone calls from around the country from a lot of people that Skip and I both worked with back in the early 80s who have gone on to places like Washington, D.C. and San Francisco, and they're telling me stories about their times with, working alongside of Skip and, what a friend he was to everybody.
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel privileged to have worked with him for 5.5 years that I've been here, and, it really is. It's an Eastern Carolina broadcasting legend that we've lost here.
Oh, you bet.
It is interesting you mentioned that. It's not necessarily the news anchors, but it is the weatherman. And we were talking about Bob DeBartoleden, who just recently passed away as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So and how much? So Les, you didn't realize how much of a burden you have on your shoulders as a local weather forecaster and personality. So
well, and that's the thing. I mean, you think about it. When the weather's like we've been enjoying here recently, we don't have severe weather at the track. That's when we get to kind of be a little lighthearted. I mean, Skip had more public appearances than I think anybody I've ever been around. And I've been in this business almost 20 years, whether it be, the womanless beauty pageant or, spelling bees or just, getting out and before his normal shift would start, going out to the different schools around here. Skip was more known out in the community than he was more so for his, meteorological prowess. But when, it started hitting the fan, he could take your mind's eye to the little corner between this crossroad and that crossroad where the old gas station used to be, better than anybody in the business I've ever worked with.
He was like the Mr. Rogers of the weather.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And, of course, the fact that he had built all these relationships throughout Eastern North Carolina. Credit, by the way, I got to do a passing credit to the management of Channel 12 and Channel 8, but Channel 12, for recognizing the value of Skip. And quite frankly, even to the value, it pains me to say this, Les, to you and Jonathan, but that's okay. I'm confident you're earning your keep. No, this is, and we say this with a little humor, but at the same time, our condolences to the entire crew there at Channel 12. You all have been very good neighbors, friends, and partners with us here at the talk station, and I thank you all very much. It's a personal, heartfelt appreciation to all of you for your service, but also greatest and deepest sympathies to the entire crew there. So please pass that along.
Thank you very much. It's going to be a very interesting day setting up here in the building of News Channel 12. And actually, this is, as I said, I've been in business almost 20 years now, and this is the first death of a coworker I've had to deal with. In 2003, I was on the air when David Bloom, which was an NBC affiliate, a correspondent in Iraq, died. But this will be the first, in-house death I've had to deal with in my career.
And such a key, and we've used the word several times, iconic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Les, thank you very much for your putting up with us and our comments and our compliments to the entire staff and condolences. Best wishes to the entire crew there and to the families and all so many of us who have come to know and appreciate the outstanding service coming from Storm Track 12 and particularly, of course, the icon Skip Waters, but to the whole crew. You all have done an outstanding job, as always. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, and I'll make sure I pass it on to the entire crew this morning.
Appreciate that, sir. Ben, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Lockwood. Well, first, let me add my condolences about losing Skip Waters. I think thousands of families across eastern North Carolina feel like they've lost a member of their family, and certainly our family, too. He'd been on the air doing weather reports with us since the day we came on.
Mm-hmm. He has, and we're chatting with Gary Dean, who's here in the studio with us, by the way, Ben, about the fact that he came to Channel 12, and we were talking about how he got the name Skip. So that was interesting. And
he was such an important played such an important role for all of us in a weather-intensive environment. He was so smart about knowing everything. And one of the things I always admired about him was the way he could name every little nook and cranny in eastern North Carolina. He knew every crossroad, what stores were on the crossroad. He just made for great television, but more importantly, he kept us all better informed. I think we're all smarter about the weather because of Skip.
To a large degree, even smarter about our community. And Gary, you made mention of that one day about the fact when he first arrived.
Yeah, when he first came to eastern North Carolina, one of the things he did was get in his car and drive everywhere he could get on a road and find a nook and cranny, and he did. He mapped out all of eastern North Carolina like an explorer. And those are the reasons he knew where he was, and he could point to anywhere on the map and go, yep, this little Lizard Lick down here, or Spivey's Corner, or whatever up here, he knows them. Yeah, he's been there.
And he would even mention some of the stores that were there. That's very true. And, you know, I got to tell the funny story about Skip. I recall we had a hurricane coming through, and I, of course, because of my other job with the newspaper, was not able to do any preparation until the very last minute because we had a paper to get put out. I'm running there and I'm boarding up windows and I'm prepping everything, and my wife walks out and says, "You can stop. The hurricane has passed." And I'm working away. I'm saying, no, I'm just ignoring her. And finally she said, "No, it came through. It's the hurricane's passed." And I'm going, "But it's a pretty day." And so everybody would razz on Skip about that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he get blamed for sometimes when bad weather did not hit.
Right. Mm-hmm. And part of that was, and I know that he's been criticized on this as well. He was very concerned about the circumstances, and so quite frankly, he would err to the side of worst scenario.
Yeah, but actually one of my favorite memories is in his public service. He was the MC at the Literacy Council Spelling Bee when I was the pronouncer, and he was saying, he was just ad-libbing, and he was talking about some words, and he was saying, Q's. Well, they're always followed by a U, aren't they? And in my smart aleck response, I said, the people of Iraq might disagree. But back to this, I know that's going to really dominate our thoughts, and it should dominate our thoughts today about Skip.